Donald Trump's vice presidential pick, JD Vance, has just responded to the backlash to his childless cat lady comments by apologizing to cats and then doubling down on attacking women, saying, quote, "I'm sorry, it is true." This was on an interview he just did with Megyn Kelly. She asked him about the remarks that he made that childless cat ladies are a big threat to our country. Here is what he said.
Obviously, it was a sarcastic comment. I've got nothing against cats. I've got nothing against dogs. I've got one dog at home and I love him, Megyn. But look, this is not, people are focusing so much on the sarcasm and not on the substance of what I actually said. And the substance of what I said, Megyn, I'm sorry, it's true. It is true that
It looks like we actually have some video from that interview between Megyn Kelly and JD Vance. Here he is doubling down. Play the clip.
So Jesus didn't have kids, therefore you are wrong. What were you trying to say?
I guess they're comparing Kamala Harris to Jesus. I don't know. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me, Megyn. But look, I know the media wants to attack me and wants me to back down on this, Megyn. But the simple point that I made is that having children, becoming a father, becoming a mother, I really do think it changes your perspective in a pretty profound way. I don't think we should back down from it, Megyn. I think we should be honest about the problem.
As our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, says, he's doubling down. They always double down. They never apologize or admit mistakes. That's why they lose. Just can't believe what JD Vance said there. I mean, I can because it's JD Vance, but how horrible, how horrific, doubling down on his childless cat lady remarks, saying, I know the media wants to attack me and wants me to back down on this, Megyn, but the simple point that I made is that having children, becoming a father, becoming a mother, I really do think changes your perspective. You heard what he said there. Just so you know, here is the original interview that was unearthed by the MeidasTouch network by our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski. He was the first to post this clip. This was JD Vance with Tucker Carlson. Here, play this clip.
But look, what I was basically saying is that we're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made. And so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. And it's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children. And how does it make any sense that we've turned our country over to people who don't really have a direct stake in it? I just wanted to ask that question and
Meghan McCain said the following: I've been trying to warn every conservative man I know. These JD comments are activating women across all sides, including my most conservative Trump-supporting friends. These comments have caused real pain and are just innately unchristian. This is not who we are. Yashar Ali says the following. Jennifer Aniston, who rarely makes political statements, responds to JD Vance's comments about childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives. Quote, I truly can't believe this is coming from a potential VP of the United States. Here is JD Vance in another unearthed audio clip right here, calling for a federal response to block women in red states from traveling to another state to get an abortion. Play this clip.
Okay, look, here's the situation. Let's say Roe versus Wade is overruled. Ohio bans abortion, in 2022 or 2024. And then, every day, George Soros sends a 747 to Columbus to load up disproportionately black women to get them to go have abortions in California. And of course, the left will celebrate this as a victory for diversity. That's kind of creepy.
Health justice is when we exterminate working class black people.
Something like that could, that would be a really weird turn of events that could happen. Yes.
And it's like, if that happens, do you need some federal response to prevent it from happening? Because it's really creepy. And, I'm pretty sympathetic to that, actually.
Now, here is JD Vance calling for taking away the voting power from people who don't have kids. Play the clip.
When you go to the polls in this country as a parent, you should have more power you should have more of an ability to speak your voice in our democratic republic than people who don't have kids. Let's face the consequences and the reality. If you don't have as much of an investment in the future of this country, maybe you shouldn't get nearly the same voice. Now, people will say, and I'm sure the Atlantic and the Washington Post and all the usual suspects will criticize me about this in the coming days. Well, doesn't this mean that non-parents don't have as much of a voice as parents? Doesn't this mean that parents get a bigger say in how our democracy functions? Yes, absolutely.
Here is another unearthed audio clip of JD Vance saying, I certainly would like abortion to be illegal nationally. Play the clip.
Do you think it will be resolved nationally? That's Adrian's. He was very serious about it. He was like, it's going to be resolved nationally. And I was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly would like abortion to be illegal nationally. I don't, Adrian's like a smart lawyer, and I'm
he
not.
Definitely is. I mean, he's great.
Here is unreal. Here is JD Vance claiming that childless adults should pay a higher tax rate than those with children. Play the clip.
I'll go back to something I said earlier about we need to reward the things that we think are good and punish the things that we think are bad. So you talk about tax policy. Let's tax the things that are bad and not tax the things that are good. If you're making $100,000, $400,000 a year, and you've got 3 kids, you should pay a different, lower tax rate than if you're making the same amount of money and you don't have any kids. It's that simple.
I totally agree.
Hey fam, it's your big boy Bugsy from your favorite new show, Felt the Nation. New episodes every Friday at Fight for Progress. And while I'm here, let me ask you, do you ever feel like you just fell out of a coconut tree? Do you feel like you don't exist within the context of all in which you live and what came before you? Well, try this new Go Cocoa Nuts energy drink. We are never going back to being tired.
And by the way, this is the messaging that they have been pushing in MAGA as part of the Trump campaign. Here is a top Trump campaign surrogate, Charlie Kirk, echoing and pushing this message as well. Play this clip.
The childless are the ones that are destroying the country. You could be good without children, but if you're bad, you probably don't have children. That is my rule for the decline of the West.
Alyssa Farah, who worked for Donald Trump, said the following on The View. Play this clip.
The other is this JD Vance clip. I saw it a couple years ago when he said it, but I am hearing from so many girlfriends, lifelong Republicans, that are so offended by it. Because if you're a woman of about my age or mid-30s, the most common thing that my friends are dealing with is infertility, miscarriages, struggling to get pregnant, wanting to and it not happening, or people who so badly want to get married but they haven't met the right partner yet. How dare you denigrate them and say that they are not as valuable, they don't have as much of a stake in this society?
In addition, a book was just released this past week by the founder of Project 2025, someone named Kevin Roberts. He's the one who's leading Project 2025. He's the president of the Heritage Foundation. Look who wrote the foreword to the book by the author of Project 2025. The foreword is by JD Vance. So while Donald Trump claims he knows nothing about Project 2025, which is obviously a lie, his vice presidential pick wrote the book called Burning Down Washington to Save America. Dawn's Early Light, it's called. Also, other posts by JD Vance have been unearthed recently, like a post he made which showed that he was searching for women and dolphins. And again, here's the photo of what he's doing there. He appeared on a podcast recently where the podcaster made the following comments. We need to stop normalizing consent. It's for gay men and it gives women the ick. Imagining real misogynists back in the Oval Office makes me so happy. It's one of the podcasts JD Vance appeared on. But should also be noted, though, before JD Vance changed his entire personality to this current one that you see and that you're hearing right there, here is what he previously said about Donald Trump when he did not have the beard. Play the clip.
It's that Trump is a really bad candidate and, frankly, I think a really bad person.
Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett talking about JD Vance's lack of experience. Play the clip.
When you talk about the emotions in Congress, I wonder what you make of the Republican response. I mean, House Republicans, conservatives have been calling the Vice President of the United States, quote, an unqualified DEI hire. I know you have thoughts about this.
I absolutely do. Listen, this tells you everything that you need to know about these clowns. They have nothing of substance to contribute, as they normally don't. I mean, this is exactly why we literally are supposed to be working next week, and we're not even coming to work to make sure that we can pass a budget, because they have no plan. I need the American people to wake up. They have no plan unless we start talking about Project 2025, which doesn't do anything for any of us. And one of the things that they continuously push in Project 2025 are these unwarranted attacks on anyone that is diverse in any way, and they try to pretend as if we don't have credentials. But my question is, as you continue to say that somehow JD Vance is prepared and qualified to be the Vice President of the United States, I'm sorry, but this guy is walking into a role with way less qualifications than our Vice President. If we want to look at the qualifications that were required of her before she got the job, she had been elected a prosecutor. She had been elected the Attorney General. She had been elected to the U.S. Senate before she was ever the Vice President. JD Vance has been in the Senate for not even 2 years. So what I don't want to hear from that side is about a DEI hire, because what I can tell you for sure is that this is them talking about the fact that they literally just cannot measure up to my Vice President and soon to be their President of the United States.
And here is former Democratic Senator Claire McCaskill weighing in. Play the clip.
And this is really extreme. This JD Vance. Now, keep in mind, not 20 years ago, not when he was in college, just in the last few months as a United States Senator, he voted against protecting IVF. He voted against protecting contraception, birth control. And maybe the most telling vote of all, only 28 senators voted with him. He voted to allow law enforcement to get the medical records of women in America. He thinks it's okay for the police to get medical records. That's jaw-dropping to most swing voters. Not acceptable in America.
Remember when Donald Trump was asked why he picked JD Vance as his VP? Here's what Trump said.
Why did you pick JD Vance?
We've always had a good chemistry. And originally, JD was probably not for me, but he didn't know me. And then when we got to know each other, he liked me maybe more than anybody liked me. And he would stick up for me, and he'd fight for the worker as much as I fight for the worker. We just had an automatic chemistry.
Here was a recent speech as well that JD Vance gave where he talked about Mountain Dew or Diet Mountain Dew and being racist for drinking Diet Mountain Dew. Play the clip.
It is the weirdest thing to me. Democrats say that it is racist to believe, well, they say it's racist to do anything. I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist too, but it's good. I love you guys.
So there you have it, folks. JD Vance doubling down. Want to also show you this. This is from Karen McDougal, who Donald Trump had the affair with, and she was, of course, mentioned in the Manhattan District Attorney falsification of business records case. Here's what she's posting. I'm a childless woman with Michigan roots who loves her cat and dog. I've made a life caring for children and, of course, invested and want to leave them a better world. I'm an auntie, a caregiver to special needs kids and young adults, and I count. Hashtag childless counts. Hashtag JD Vance. Well, there you have it, folks. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million subscribers together. Thanks for watching.
Real quick, Meta just changed their algorithm to suppress political content. Please follow our Instagram @MeidasTouch right now as we head towards 400,000 followers so you don't miss a beat.